with it, okay? So languages, so language meaning the wording on a test, sound different from our everyday language, okay? Testing language, but it means the same thing. So it just sounds fancier, okay? It sounds more formal, and sometimes it tricks you, okay? So for an example, how many of you guys have ever seen on a test you were taking the word select? It might say, select the answer below. How many of you guys have ever seen that before? Raise your hand if you've ever seen the word select on a test where the question says like, select your best answer below. Okay, so select is always used on a test instead of the word pick. We never see tests that say, pick the right answer or pick the one you like the best. It's always select. It sounds fancy, doesn't it? So, but they mean the same thing, okay? I was talking to you, I would say pick. I would say, all right, guys, pick the right answer. But on tests, they change up the wording, okay? So if I was just talking to you, I would say pick. So maybe something I'd say is, can you please pick a gift you'd like for your birthday? Or can you guys please pick your favorite book you want to read? But the people who write the test, they're different. They choose fancier words, okay? So we need to know what these fancier words mean, what they are, what they mean, so then we can make sure that we are answering the question correctly, okay? Because if we don't know these words, we're not going to understand the question, right? So I'm going to teach you guys some of the test writers' fancy words that they use, okay? And what they really mean so that you guys can be successful. Can anyone think of another word on a test that you've seen that sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know what this means?
So like tell them if it's happened before.
Okay. Can anyone think of another word that you might have seen on a test that you were like, I'm not sure what this question's even asking? Okay, that's okay if you can't, because we'll go over some today, okay? So we're going to be looking at kind of a little practice test, okay? So we're going to be using what we've experienced before, because raise your hand if you've taken a test before. Raise your hand. All you guys have taken a test before, okay? So you all have seen these words. You just might not be able to remember them, okay? So we're going to take a look at a sample iLearn test. We're going to read through the question and pay attention to the fancy words, okay? And then I have a chart. Oh, goodness. I didn't think about this. Can you guys see it? There we go. It says testing vocab is key. So we're going to write down some of these words and we're going to talk about them and figure out what they mean, okay? So I am going to, let's see, how does Miss Kalina want to do this? Let's see. Okay. Is this plugged in right? Oh, that's not right, because you guys probably are just seeing me, aren't you? All right. Why? Oh, I know why. It's because I accidentally unplugged my document camera. All right, let's try this now. Focus on the question itself. So, can anyone read me this question? It starts with which sentence? Can anyone read that question for me? Kueku, you want to try, bud?
Which sentence from this
Presentation
best support your answer in part A?
Okay, so who can read to me this bolded word? That bolded word. Someone read that bolded word for me. That big, it's big and it's kind of black, big lettering. Someone read that word to me. Oscar, what word did they bold?
Best.
Best. Okay. Good. Best. Best supports. So what does that mean? Best supports. Well, first, best means that which one is probably the right answer, okay? Which one does the job the greatest, okay? So it's asking which one of these sentences can answer the most correct for in part A, okay? So best, all of us should know what best means, okay? Should we always try our best or try our least best? Which one? Who can answer? What is better, best or worst? Which one's better? Susan.
Best.
Best, okay? So this question, we're gonna pick the sentence that best supports your answer, okay? Not the one that doesn't. Why would I pick that? That's silly. And then supports. So support just means kind of to help out, okay? So this one is a little hard because it's saying your answer in part A. So some of these questions might pull from a different question that you answered, okay? Let's look at this sentence. Who can read this question for me? Who could read this question for me? Let's get someone else other than Kwaku. Who could read this question for me? Gabe.
What is most likely reason the author made the presentation?
Perfect. Okay, who can read that bolded? It's two bolded words. What are the two bolded words that are in this sentence? Kwaku.
Most likely.
Most likely. Okay, so what's going on here? In this one, they said best. Now in this one, they're saying most likely. So they're trying to trick you guys, okay? Because some of these answers may seem right, but there's really only one answer, okay? So you really have to read all the answers before you pick yours. So you always need to read A. You need to read B, C, then D, and then you could pick one, okay? Because most likely almost means like best, okay? Which is most likely? So what is the best one? What is the best reason the author made up the presentation, okay? All right, now this one, I want to focus on a different word. Let's see, I'm gonna make this a little thicker so you guys can see it. Okay, someone raise your hand. What word did I just underline there? Who could tell me what word that is? Susan, what word did I just underline?
Passage.
Passage. Who thinks they know what a passage is? Who thinks they know what a passage is? Not like a secret passage going from somewhere. Gabe, what do you think, bud? What do you think a passage is?
A text.
Good. So a passage would be like a little paragraph, okay? A little paragraph. For example, let's see. Let me find real quick a quick passage.
No, the other line because this.
Ronnie, you need to make sure you're muted. Okay. So this would be, look here, this would be a passage. Do you see this? The value of